Have faith, live again. When it starts right now.
Welcome to Have Faith. Let it begin. Here's your host, Angel Santana.
Ariel, can you say have faith?
Let it begin.
Let it begin?
Let it begin.
Say have faith.
Let it begin.
Let it begin.
No.
No? Okay.
It's the boy.
Hi, Noah.
Noah!
Noah.
Jesus. Happy birthday, Noah!
Caitlin.
Oh, that's amazing.
Let's get those nice ones. Noah. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it.
Shy.
This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it.
Shy.
This little light of
Mine.
I'm gonna let it.
Shy.
Let it.
Shy.
Let it.
Say.
Let it.
Say.
Yeah.
Daddy, I'm so excited! But I have one question.
What's your question?
Are you gonna be a pastor or a minister?
Good question. I don't know, but it is all in God's hands.
Good morning! You're listening to Have Faith, Live Again. And it starts right now.
They say that college is a step in your road to success. Embrace the change and release the experience and keep everything in front of you. Good morning, everyone, and welcome to Have Faith, Let It Begin. This is Angel Santana, and it is a true honor to have two amazing guests on here that I've been wanting to have for quite some time. So I'm going to actually do something different today. I'm going to actually have each one of them introduce the other, which is kind of cool. I will formally tell you who they are. So on my left, you're right when you're watching it at home, is my niece, Arianna. She is back. She doesn't remember, but she's been on this platform before. And of course, her best friend, Addie, is with her. Addie, I know her because she has actually taught Ariel in ballet. Of course, Arianna too, but that's how we know each other. And it is truly an honor to have them here because we're going to be doing a brand new series. The series is called Reach for the Stars. And the cool thing about this is that you're going to see them grow because they're going to be back multiple times to do a how's it going type of category. With that being said, Arianna, I'm going to give it to you. Please explain who is with you today.
So today I have my caretaker, my babysitter, my best friend, my almost neighbor in college, wink. And yes, this is Addie.
Hey, welcome to Have Faith, Let It Begin.
Thank you.
Yeah, that's right. We got to get some applause in there. I'll add that later in the whole post production. Addie, I know my niece, but not everybody else does. So by all means, go ahead. Who do we have?
Well, this is Arianna, and she's an amazing, beautiful dancer. She's currently on the mend from a little injury, but that's okay because she'll be back and better than ever before she knows that.
And you know what? She did that, Addie, you did that perfectly because I was going to tell everybody that they probably didn't understand what that cold caretaker thing was, which is fun, which is great because they're probably like, what the heck did happen to her? So, yeah, I had a surgery. I won't get into her what exactly it was, but it was an injury, and she's back with us, and she's on the mends, and Addie, her best friend, is taking care of her, which is what all good friends should do. Well, we got two interesting parts here to this whole dynamic. Arianna is now going into her third year of college, and Addie is going in for her first year. So I guess what I want to do is start this way. As somebody who's graduated college with a business degree and minored in ecology, don't worry about dogs in the background. It's all good. They won't even hear it because I saw your reactions. You're like, no, it's all good. So as somebody who's graduated and knew what they kind of wanted to do before I got into college, and then when I graduated, I went into the field, ultimately didn't stay in the field. I went into medical field and podcasting. I want to ask you a question, and you can go, whoever wants to go first. At the stage that you are in right now, I guess we'll start with Addie because she's just getting started. Where do you see yourself in the next 3 years? And are you 100% confident that you may be in that field in 3 years from now?
Well, right now, my major end goal is to be like a casting director or producer or whatever it is for Broadway, TV, film, whatever it is. My major right now is business. So right now, matching up with my end goal, but I honestly would have no problem switching it if like I did an internship or whatever and I had a mentor tell me that something else would be.
Good to know. I did not know that you were into business. So if you do need an internship, I'm going to say this right now on the air. I will be more than happy to give you a platform to kind of see the backgrounds of what we do here and help you out if you need it. Okay. So that's available to you. And I'm not just saying that because I'm on the air. I mean that. So absolutely. So that's awesome. Business is an important thing. I would like to point out that I have seen Addie also perform, and she's an amazing dancer as well. So I want to make sure that we don't lose track of that. Arianna, you've been in school 3 years. When you went into school, what was your major, and are you still there today?
Major originally was dance, and I'm staying with dance, but my minor has changed. I wanted to stay in the dance industry and like kind of keep adding more dance elements to my major. So I decided to do a musical theater minor. I was like, you know what? No, actually, because I need more than just a dance. Clearly, with my injury speaking, you just never know what's going to happen. So you want to have any backups as you can, which is not a problem. So in the fall, I'm actually starting my new minor, which is in social work, and I plan to get my master's in social work.
Can I ask what changed? Can I ask what changed that? Because I didn't even know, as your uncle, I didn't know that changed. What made you go into that direction? Or was it always in the back of your mind? Or is that something that you just kind of fell into recently?
Well, I've always wanted to work in like schools. If that came with like being a dance teacher at a school or, something like that. But my neighbor Stephanie got her master's in social work, and I just really enjoyed the whole like way that she would speak about how she wants to counsel, work at schools still, and still be able to like chat with kids, but still like work with students and all that. So I felt like that would be a cool thing to do. I'm also a licensed hairstylist, so I feel like counseling in that realm too could also work, because
That's awesome.
are someone's therapist when you like put them in their chair and you like chat with them. You know what I mean? So I feel
that makes sense. And and both fields and all the fields too, especially with all due respect that you are females, all underpaid, and that's something I advocate for here, that we should have women be paid for what they're capable of, and if they have the same the same platform as men, they should be paid equally, if not more, depending on their work ethic. So, and that's important. So now, Addie, with your business degree, what made you what inspired you to be in business?
Well, originally I was gonna do dance too, because I grew up dancing just like Arianna did at the same studio, obviously. And so at our studio, it was very much performance heavy. So I fell in love with that, and I wanted to do that for the rest of my life. That's the only thing I knew. And also my parents are performers and did that professionally. So I sort of just followed in their footsteps. And
Amen.
then I was like, well, I haven't even explored anything else. Like, what if there's something else that is better fit for me? Mm-hmm. And especially once like I've started getting closer to having to audition and realizing like how much work it was going to be, how much I was going to have to sacrifice, I was just like, I've done it my whole life, but I don't know if I really love it enough to put all my energy into it for like literally the rest of my life. But I knew I still wanted to like stay in that general community, because it's like a really rewarding community to be a part of. So
Absolutely.
I wanted to stick with that. So I was sort of like thinking of what other things I could do but still be in that business. And then I came across casting, which is actually a dream that I had when I was like 9, 10. I told everyone I wanted to be a casting director. So I sort of circled back to that, and I researched what casting directors majored in and found people to look up to, found a bunch of different casting companies to follow and like see what their employees do. And most of them did business majors. So that's what I did.
So there's some background to it. And I think that business management or business, especially when the fields that you're both going to be going into, you kind of have to have that background, because you're going to need to know, when it comes to contracts, you're going to need to know how to save your money, how to balance, all those things. So yeah, it can get a little hectic. And even though I didn't fall into the sales industry, which I love doing, I didn't stick with that, but because I do podcasting and I'd be doing, even in ministry school, knowing what I have to do later, business comes back somewhere fashion in, not so much as math, thank God, but business is important. All right. So what advice, let me start with a hard question. And if you don't want to answer it, you don't have to. Do you think high school prepares you for college?
Yes.
I'll start. I was just going to say yes and no for me too. Go ahead.
No,
Go ahead.
I want to hear you.
I'm going to say no, because I think that when I was in school, with all due respect to the guidance counselors, I think they were not, they didn't have enough time to get to know you the way I think that we should. So they were more of doing the checks and balances, and they weren't trying to figure out, what does Angel really like to do? You know, what does Angel really, and I don't think I've ever really got asked. They just used to say, well, you're great at math. Stay in math. Guess what? I struggled with math in college. So I wasn't a math major that I was in high school, right? But nobody ever asked me and said, what do you want to do? Because I've always wanted to be an announcer, and I wanted to be a psychologist, and I wanted to be a businessman. So 2 of the 3 came true. So yeah, that's the no. The yes, social experience. But for me back then, I didn't have cell phones. We just had beepers. So the social aspect of it played a factor in learning how to articulate, how to talk with people. I don't know if I would have survived in this world today with the social media. I think I really would have been like all over social media and less on my academics. That's mine. All right, who's next? They're like, I ain't following that.
Me personally, I was all over the place in high school and didn't know what track I wanted to go. Like, there were so many different options. And I think right before entering my junior year of high school, I had to make the decision on whether or not I wanted to go to BOCES and like fulfill my like dream of just doing hair, getting my license, kind of going in that direction. But I also like on the side wanted to be a teacher. I also wanted to do dance. Like, there were so many things. So I feel like you said, they kind of just didn't get to like know me very well. And they just kind of saw my grades and my GPA and were like, you know, BOCES is actually for people that have lower GPAs than you. So we don't think you should be going on that track. And I'm like, but why does it have to be that way? You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
I like stuck it out and I was like, you know what? No, because that's just not how it is. It's a career. It's a job. It's still like, you're still making money. You're still getting paid. Like, we don't need to compare GPAs just because of all this stuff. So I had a really hard time kind of like working with my guidance counselors to make an actual decision as to what I wanted to do in high school, let alone college. Like, I feel like in college, when I decided to tell my guidance counselors, I switched it around, I want to do dance. They had no idea how to help me because they don't know what dance is about.
That's so interesting.
A guidance counselor that was a dancer. You know what I mean? And
Yeah.
like know of dance, it's really hard to like get help. And I feel like with even when Addie was like in the middle of deciding, the process itself is so difficult. And if you don't have that help prior, you're like underwater looking for help. You have to just ask and ask and ask and ask. And I feel like that was probably the hardest because you want to ask for academic help from your guidance counselors. They can't help you. So you're trying to ask a mentor and it's just no one knows. So everything is just like chaotic and like dumpster fire. But yes, on the same side, like the social aspects, I'm very socially, which is kind of, you would probably not know this, but in the beginning of high school, I was very like quiet, ate lunch with the teacher. I never wanted to eat with the actual students. I was just afraid. I had a lot of social anxiety, a lot. And
I did.
do sometimes, but it's
I
a
did
lot
too.
now. I feel like now that I'm working and like have to meet people, I have to make connections. It's a lot easier. In the beginning, it was hard. So I feel like, you know, more and more years of high school kind of like builds you up and you're like, okay, I can actually make friends outside of here and be okay. So I
See,
feel
for
like
someone like you though, and I think that and we're going to get to Addie's as well answers, but for someone like you, they just said that, and I appreciate you being honest about it because there's people out there they're going to listen to and say, wow, it's not just me. I think that this is where the pros and cons come. I think that in the industry that we're in now, because of social media, it may actually help you become more sociable, right? There's pros and cons. There's negatives and positives. And I want Addie's perspective on this too. Do you feel that we were not pushed enough in high school? For example, when I was talking about the guidance counselor, I remember, I'll never forget, sitting in the office and I had straight A's in math, straight A's. And then the following year, they were like, now this terminology may not exist anymore. I was in non-regions, right? Classes. And then right? So then they went, you're going to do sequential 1A, which is the next step. So I went in, which is like a regions, let's call it that way. And my grades started to slip. So then they pulled me in and said, look, your grades are starting to slip. Mind you, we're talking about B's, very like border B's, almost C pluses. They put me back into non-regions so I can get straight A's. But that doesn't help me. That didn't help me. It didn't prepare me to become challenged. So I wasn't challenged enough. And lastly, to point out to what you said about mentors and not being pushed and just kind of like going with the flow, I also felt, and I'll say this so that you don't put you guys under the bus, I felt that the people that had straight A's and were always in the in crowd, quote unquote, got help or got that letter of recommendation and the extra, stuff to get them into those applications, where people like you and I struggled to figure out where the heck do I go with this? And it was up to mom and dad and you to figure out where to go.
Right. And they've done college a while ago.
Right.
Be like,
Yikes.
I'm not trying to.
It's true.
It was so different too when they used to apply for colleges. And
Yeah, they drove chariots to high school. I remember. Yeah, I know.
It's different now. So it's like how I can't always rely on my parents to help me with something that they might not be familiar with. So it's like you expect that kind of from your guidance counselor, just a little bit.
Right.
But
mentorship/parentship. We make up words here. So that's the way it is. Now, Addie, let's talk about you now. The same question. Do you think high school prepared you for college?
I think definitely the social aspect, like you both were saying. I mean, I've always been a very extroverted person, like from the time I was in like preschool.
this is true.
Nice. Hey, everybody's going to have a different answer, and I love that.
Yeah. So I never had a problem like putting myself out there, but I do know that if I didn't have school, I would be an extrovert in like all the wrong ways. Like I would just have absolutely no like social awareness at all. So I feel like that definitely helps. Like, being socially aware, like knowing how to read a room, like that sort of thing. Like it comes with being in classrooms of like all different kinds of people for 12 years.
Yeah.
So
Great answer.
I feel like without that, I would be still extroverted because that's just how I was hardwired, but like really like socially awkward, if that makes sense. Like
This is why I like doing formats like this, because what it does is it allows us the opportunity to see different sides. I don't want everybody to have the same answer to a certain degree. Then it becomes a boring show. We're at the 19-minute mark. We're going to do a 2-parter on this. So for everyone out at home, I want you to stay tuned. They're going to be back for another episode tomorrow, and we're going to cut it here and be back. Teenagers becoming adults, and more importantly, reaching for the stars. On behalf of all of us here at Have Faith, Let It Begin, I want to thank Addie. I want to thank Arianna for being here. And part 2 is going to be tomorrow, so stay tuned. They're going to be back. For us, we're going to keep recording, and it's like we never stop. But for you guys, you're going to have to wait 24 hours. So we hope to see you soon, and never forget, have faith and let it begin. We'll be back tomorrow, guys.
I'm Arianna.
and I'm Addie.
And you're listening to Have Faith,
Let it begin.
and it starts right now.